Okay, replying to this comment of my friend BB here. And this is going to be about the warrior wound and how I got the downloads for the information that I've given in a previous video. So I'm going to give as quick of a backstory as I possibly can. So basically, I am in the middle of detaching from my biological mother, who has been one of my best friends. I love her dearly, and she just said something that has been indicative that her programming is still stuck, and it does not match the life that I currently am pursuing, if you will. So, as an act of self love, I cut the cord with her via Archangel Michael. I sobbed for a very long time. This doesn't mean that I'm never going to talk to her again. It doesn't mean that I don't love her. It just means that she invalidated a huge inner child wound that I also see in her inner child. And I'm not okay with that anymore because I'm turning into the person that protects those inner children. Do you know what I'm saying? I stopped that at 111. All right. So basically, that was a Friday night. The next morning, I went and had a bath, which, by the way, if you've never had a spiritual bath, heavily recommend. We are water beings. The bath is like where I get my most clear downloads. So just a little sidebar there. So I get out of the bath after having a lot of clarity and having a kind of like it is what it is moment, so that I could move forward. And I decided to do some breath work and a meditation. And during my meditation, it started out with me just hearing chainmail, unmistakably chainmail. Then I heard, "This is your grandfather." Now, my grandfather died 8 years before I was born and has been one of my main guides. And this was my mom's dad. So I was like, okay, what's up, dude? What's going on? So the next thing that I am experiencing, visually seeing, as well as just like understanding that deep inner knowing, I'm walking down a hallway into a chamber room and I am fully armored. Okay, so I'm realizing in this moment this is a past life, which I had 143, which is I love you, on the time, which I had a session with a psychic a few years ago that told me that my one of my main protectors and guides, who was my grandfather, was in full armor from the medieval period. So this is all lining up for me, okay? So I come into the chamber room and there's not that many people there. I'm not aware of that many people, at least in this current visual that I have. But there, sitting on the throne, is the king. But the king is pacing, going back and forth. Now, I don't see any other people really. Like I'm aware of other people, but the only person I'm really focused on is the king. And I realize in that moment that that king is my cousin in that life. And so I go up and we begin to converse. And before I know it, there are swords from the king's guards literally going into my body from every angle. As I have the swords going into me, I begin to understand that the king is the same soul as my mother. So the confusion sets in, but then I see in my mind's eye the lifetime that I was having as that warrior, and how there were other warriors that sung songs about me, how children would come up to me in villages who knew who I was and I was kind, how I would walk through the woods and there would be animals drawn to me, and I was clearly very authentic and in my power, and I was very kind. But because of this popularity, this got the king to believe that I was trying to usurp his throne. I did not want the throne. But because of the paranoia from the cousin king / my mother, it was out of fear. And it completely correlates with the reason why I feel that I need to put distance between her and I, because it is a paranoia. It is a lack of authenticity on her part. It is a lack of understanding her own wounds, much less my wounds, and the fact that I needed protection from her even as a child, and I did not receive it. And again, it's a mirror, right? So through this visualization and through this understanding and then many conversations afterwards, I began to understand that this is a wound for the masculine portion. It is the counterpart of the witch wound. The witch wounds are those are the healers, the feminine healers, the Avalon priestesses, the tree whisperers from, hundreds, thousands of years ago that have always existed. That's the feminine side. So the male aspect is the warrior wound. These are divine protectors. Ooh, I got chills. Divine protectors, men who stood in authenticity but were healed in their feminine, who were kind, who children adored, who were able to speak from their truth, and who were able to go to battle and serve their country and serve their people, but then turn around and not be dictated with their heart due to what they did. So I hope that this is interesting and it has brought more clarity as to how I was able to receive these downloads. And if anyone has any more questions, I can speak. Questions, feel free to ask. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely day.